My name is Isabel and this is my placement reflection. So the placement that I carried out was at the Bailey Academy, which is situated in Fretchville, South Yorkshire of Sheffield. The area is a working class area with the vast majority of students white British and around 1,100 pupils attending school. However, there are a different range of ethnical backgrounds attending the academy as well. So the reason why I chose to do my placement at Bailey was because it's a secondary school environment and I've already done primary, so I wanted to broaden the experience that I was getting. Familiar with the staff and the equipment there as I attended the school as a student as well. And future career aspirations. So this was the typical look to my week. So I attended on a Tuesday, Thursday and Friday. However, when I first started I was just doing a Thursday. So on a Thursday morning I would have the choice of Year 9 double PE core, or I could do Health and Social Year 10 with the first period, and Year 11 Health and Social the second period. And then I had Year 7s for the rest of the day. So in Bailey they do double, for Key Stage 3 they do double lessons on practical PE. As the lessons are only 50 minutes, so a single lesson isn't really worth it by the time you've got changed, etc. So period 3 and 4 I would either do trampolining or table tennis, and period 5 and 6 I would do trampolining. So with the period 3 and 4, and the 5 and 6, the second part of the year group was lower ability, and there was a lot of STEM students in there as well. So on Friday morning I would have Year 9 double trampolining or table tennis again, and then I would be free period 3 and free period 4, and then I would have double health and social on a Friday afternoon. Felt that this was useful because obviously some teachers can be put into a subject that they're not necessarily familiar with. However, on a Tuesday when I had sports studies period 5 and sports studies on period 6 if I didn't do gym or trampolining, I felt that I was more engaged in that because I could help the students with their coursework, etc. And Tuesday morning was typically Year 8 double lesson on trampolining with Year 11 core, which they tend to just do whatever they really fancy. So it was gym or table tennis this term because that's what they had set up. So when it comes down to teaching standards, there was a few that I was interested in looking at. So the first one being managing behaviour efficiently to ensure a safe learning environment. So behaviour is an issue that majority of schools have to contend with, and research highlighted that backchat and rudeness are the most common behaviours. So I wanted to see how Bailey kind of dealt with behaviour and the procedures that they put in place to sort of like decrease the numbers in the amount of behaviour that they was having. So Bailey created a programme called Step Out. Step Out consisted of small groups of around 8 students who had simplified lessons by each topic from teachers. So the idea around this was to ease the difficult students into teaching. So for a percentage of people that would work, however, for a little percentage of people, they was too reliant on the kind of one-to-one support that they was having, because there was a littler group of people. They was receiving more help, more support from the teachers. So for me, an area of improvement for this would not be to separate them off. Like, I feel that there's a different way of handling it and giving them not more attention in lessons, but sort of building a rapport with them, with the more difficult students in order to have them to be here for you. And then from there, they build respect for you and you also build respect for them. And then after this, catch-up can also be arranged after school or during dinner times so that they can make progress with any work or any areas for improvement for students. And I feel that teachers need to be a little bit more patient. Yeah, of course, you've got other students in the lesson, but I also think if you take time, even if it's just 5 minutes, if you just ask them if they're all right, what they're interested in at school, they will start to form respect for you as well as you forming respect for them. So the other teaching standard that I wanted to focus on was adapting teaching to respond to the strengths and needs of all pupils. So I feel that PE should be inclusive for everyone, whether that's SEND students, people with disability, ADHD, autism, etc. Or whether it's someone that doesn't really like PE or... Right, so by this I feel that this was something that the Academy focused on by providing knowledge and skills around a broad variety of different sports rather than there being, for example, just football, netball, rugby. They do stuff like table tennis, they do stuff like trampolining, hockey, etc. However, an improvement for this teaching standard would be creating a more balanced curriculum for people with disabilities, for example. I feel that that's an area that can be improved on massively, especially for teachers and the experience that they have around that. So when it comes to employability, I feel that this experience in a secondary school has made me more employable, as I've seen firsthand how lessons are structured, how they can be carried out in different ways as well. So York and Knight highlight that personal core and progress skills are important within teaching. So one of my core qualities is being able to motivate students. Sometimes students don't necessarily want to be in PE, they don't like it, it might not be an interest of theirs. Even if you just get them participating in something that they don't want to do, like for example on a trampoline, if they're not confident and they get on and they just do 5 straight jumps, that's progress. They're involved in that lesson, they're engaged, they're participating. And I also learned how to build a rapport with them as well, so finding out about them, and then that way this allows both of us to gain respect for one another. So personal quality of mine would be patience. And moving forward, I would want to keep students in lesson. If they're struggling with a skill, I would have the patience to help them to progress to a stage they are happy with, as well as myself as a teacher. So even if that's breaking down a skill a little bit further for a student than you necessarily would for someone else, as long as they're getting to a stage that they're happy with and they're also engaged and participating in that lesson, me as a teacher, I would be happy with that. And finally, a process skill I have identified for myself would be practice, patience and empathy. Research highlights that a PE teacher will need to be patient when dealing with setbacks and challenges. However, a teacher is required to build students' confidence and self-esteem. And I was able to see the school from a different perspective to enable me to gain a better understanding of the day-to-day in the school environment and how the school is run. So, moving forward from this placement, an area of improvement for myself would be confidence. So I feel like the knowledge around sports or demonstrations or a skill is there. I just doubt myself when I'm doing certain things. So for example, when I'm demonstrating, I would doubt myself on also explaining at the same time. So is my explanation matching what I'm demonstrating? However, I would say that my confidence during the placement would have improved. Moving forward in the future, I am going to apply for a QAT, which is a supply company. and therefore I'll be able to set my own standards in a classroom, what I want from students, and also the students will know the boundaries and the expectations that I would expect in a lesson. And the more I'm around schools and students, the more I'm going to grow in confidence. So I had Year 7s on a Thursday afternoon. I had a group 4 and 5, and I had a group 3 and 4, and a group 5 and 6. I've already previously mentioned that the group in the afternoon was more SEND students, lower ability, etc. So, we had a few students that suffered with autism, and therefore some students have difficulty with interaction and social, communication, and they can also be sensitive to loud noises and music, etc. So I found it useful to have periods 3 and 4, I found it useful to have a group where there weren't necessarily SEND students in there, and that way it allowed me to see how the lessons would change in order to meet the needs of the SEND students and what's done differently and carried out differently, and the demonstrations, how they changed, etc. So this meant that adaptations such as wording and learning objectives, not playing music for the SEND groups, and allowing them to work with their friends in order for them to feel comfortable, and then that allows them to engage in the lesson as well. So there was one student who struggled to engage in the lesson. So she had autism, and we had a double class, and was a double group of students as well. And the chosen sport was gymnastics, so we was doing balances in gymnastics in the hall. And the student wasn't engaged in the lesson, just laying on the mat, not really doing anything, after being asked to do partner balances. So while everyone was engaged in the lesson, participating, doing some partner balances, Miss Reed, who was the teacher I was alongside, decided to adapt the lesson in order to give her the opportunity to participate and do some form of PE. So first of all, Miss Reed asked the student if she would do, well, she said multiple times about doing some balances off the sheet that was handed out. And the student wasn't participating, so Miss Reed then decided to give her a sheet with individual balances on, so she didn't necessarily need anyone else to carry out the balances with. The student then didn't really show much interest in getting involved, so we then decided to give her a challenge of creating her own 3 balances by the end of that lesson. And that was it. The student was involved, participating, wanted to do it, wanted to show us. So we got there in the end. However, it impacts positively on students' learning as they was included in the lesson, which benefits the student, also meaning that they're engaged and participating. Even though the first adaptation didn't work, it then carried on until we got some form of engagement out of the student, which was good. So research highlighted that there are different strategies that can be carried out when the teacher in PE. This is where the lack of training comes in, because teachers aren't trained around this. Teachers have a lack of experience around different strategies that can be taken to deal with SEND students and to get them participated and engaged. So moving forward, an area of improvement for the teacher, and something that I would consider as well in my later career, would be asking the student to go into a group, like a group of 3, and that way they can rotate, and then she's still participating in the original task of partner balances, rather than it being narrowed down to her doing individual or making her own, etc. So, in terms of improvement for this industry, I feel that the knowledge in this industry lacks. Teachers aren't trained or given support when it comes to SEND students and what works for them. If there was some sort of training around engagement for SEND students, then teachers would be less likely to stress and have more ideas around making the lesson inclusive for them and different ways of tackling this, etc. So yeah, thank you very much.